अस्सलाम वालेकुम। तो स्टूडेंट्स क्लास 8th फॉर बोथ पिंक एज वेल एज़ फॉर येलो। तो यहाँ पे डिस्कस करने जा रहे हैं हम चैप्टर जो हमारे पास है एजुकेशन सिस्टम ऑफ इंडिया, और ये चैप्टर नंबर 7 है आपकी बुक में हिस्ट्री के। तो इसके रिलेटेड जो भी इम्पोर्टेंट टॉपिक्स हैं उनके बारे में बात करेंगे। तो पहले कुछ इम्पोर्टेंट फैक्चुअल इंफॉर्मेशन है इस चैप्टर के बारे में। तो जैसे कि आप लोग जानते होंगे या अगर आप लोगों ने स्टार्ट किया होगा तो हमारे पास है कुछ इम्पॉर्टेंट टर्म्स। एक इम्पॉर्टेंट टर्म है हमारे पास ओरिएंटलिस्ट्स। ओरिएंटलिस्ट्स कौन थे? तो व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट द ओरिएंटलिस्ट्स तो पता चलता है कि ओरिएंटलिस्ट्स वाज दैट ग्रुप ऑफ इंडियन सोसाइटी, या वी कैन से कि इट वाज अ ग्रुप ऑफ स्कॉलर्स, या इट वाज अ ग्रुप ऑफ एजुकेशनिस्ट्स, या इट वाज अ ग्रुप ऑफ philosophers who believed to encourage local education system in India. इनके पास क्या था कि दे वांट टू बूस्ट वर्निकुलर लैंग्वेजेस। वर्निकुलर लैंग्वेजेस का मतलब होता है हमारे पास जैसे पर्शियन है, या हमारे पास अरबिक है, या संस्कृत लैंग्वेज है, या उर्दू लैंग्वेज है। तो इसके साथ साथ ये चाहते थे कि जितनी भी लोकल लिटरेचर है, चाहे तेलुगु लिटरेचर हो, चाहे तमिल लिटरेचर हो, या चाहे संस्कृत में लिटरेचर हो, चाहे यहाँ पर्शियन में लिटरेचर हो, तो इनको बूस्ट किया जाए। तो सिंपली जब आप ओरिएंटलिस्ट्स के बारे में लिखोगे तो आपका नोट होना चाहिए शॉर्ट प्रिसाइज कि इट वाज अ ग्रुप ऑफ पीपल, या इट वाज अ ग्रुप ऑफ philosophers who want to encourage local educational system in India, who want to believe boosting of local languages in India, who want to encourage traditional system of education in India, who were extremely opposite to the Western education in India. उसके बाद बात होती है एंग्लिस्ट्स के बारे में। हु आर एंग्लिस्ट्स? जब हम एंग्लिस्ट्स के बारे में बात करते हैं तो एंग्लिस्ट वाज एन अपोजिट क्लास टू होम? एंग्लिस्ट वाज एन अपोजिट क्लास टू ओरिएंटलिस्ट क्लास. The English class was also a group of scholars. They were also the group of philosophers. They were also the group of educationists who believed to highlight the system of Western education in India. So we can say that people who had come from Europe, different like we have many scholars, we have many philosophers who time to time visit India, who time to time start boosting Western education in India. And there were also few Indians who were also influenced by Westernization, who were also influenced by the Western education, yeah, who were also influenced by modern education, and they were very keen to highlight modern education in India. So Anglists, who were Anglists? Anglists was a group of also scholars. They were also the group of philosophers. They were also the group of educationists who were influenced by the Western education, who believed to boost Western education in India, who want to see mode of curriculum in India in Western education, and who want to see medium of instruction. Medium of instruction means that the language should be used in schools for the purpose of teaching and learning English. So this group of Anglists, they were totally against Orientalists. They don't want to see traditional structure of education in India. They want to see the modern education in India. They want to see the logical knowledge in Indian schools. They want to see the practical knowledge in Indian schools, so that the students be logical and as well as practical in their social life, as well as in their technical as well as economic life. And after that, we have the third important component in this chapter, that is madrasas. So what were madrasas in India during the colonial period? So first of all, you should have the knowledge about the colonial period. When we talk about the colonial period means it is that period of Indian history when India was under the control of British. Yeah, when the administration of India was under the hands of the British, and the decisions as well as the other functions of India were controlled by East India Company, and later by British Crown as well as British Parliament. So madrasas were also important sector of education during the colonial rule, and madrasas were specifically for the Muslim students, and madrasas were the pivot pivot means markers where the Muslim education, yeah, we can say where the Islamic education was given to the students. and it was mainly given in the form of teaching the students Quran as well as Hadith, Fiqh, and other important Muslim related literature. So we can say when we have a question in our exam, what was madrasa? You can simply write down that madrasa was a part of curriculum in India, and it was also we can say a structure of educational institutions where the education was given to the students in the form of based on religious principles, in the form of Quran as well as in the form of Hadith. And the Muslim ideology was propagated there and encouraged, so that the Muslim students have good knowledge of Islam, and they were also given the concept of having a life that is completely we can say bounded to the religious teachings, and they should have the lifestyle based on the religious principles. Okay, then we have the next term, that is Munshi. Munshi is one of the important component in your chapter. It is not the Munshi who are presently working in the food sector, but Munshi was completely different concept during the colonial rule. And Munshis was that group of the scholars who were entitled the task of translating the Persian literature into English literature. So when you will be asked the question who are the Munshis, so your answer must be Munshi was a group of the people. Yeah, it was a group of the scholars who were entitled the task to translate the Persian literature into English literature, mostly the Persian manuscripts. So when we say manuscripts, it is a book that is in original form. It is a book that is in original handwriting of the writer, where no amendment or where no change modification has been taken place. And Calcutta, we can say Calcutta University was mainly used for translating those books, and many other scholars were there who were helping these munshis to translate this Persian literature into English literature, so that the British should have the knowledge as well as the information about the history of India that was mostly we can say influenced during the Delhi Sultanate period or during the Mughals, so that the British should have the knowledge of those dynasties, and when they came to know about the rule of those dynasties, they can further make new amendments in the sector, and they will introduce it with new reformative measures. Then there is a question, that is what was Asiatic Society and who founded it. When we say Asiatic Society was founded by Sir William Henry. So yeah, Sir William Jones. We can famously called that person as a Jones. So Jones was a person who was given the task to frame a society in India who were influenced, yeah, who were affected by the British education, by the Western culture as well as Western philosophy, Western science, and Western logic. And the people of India who joined this group, they were known as Asiatic Society. So Asiatic Society was simply a group of the people, a community influenced by the Western education, and who were sharing the same ideology, and who were believing on the same concept, same notion, and that was how to encourage and how to expand the Western education in India. So the aim of this Asiatic Society was first to promote Western education in India. The second aim of this Asiatic Society was to make Indians, we can say, to how to motivate the Indians for British education, to create a class of people in India who are good in Western education, who have a good influence of Western literature, as well as to create a class of, we can say, a class of privileged society, yeah, to have a class of privileged uh, influenced people who work very hard to promote Western literature as well as Western education in India. So we can say that the British has made a number of important initiatives as well as measures to implement as well as to reform the education sector of India. So you have a book, a concept that is Wood's Dispatch. So when we talk about the Wooders Dispatch was also a concept that was brought by the British government, yeah, that was brought by the British government in India to reform the educational sector. So in 1854, you have to remember the date. In 1854, the British government formulated a commission, and the task of the commission was to check the loopholes of the Indian education and give the suggestions how to make those loopholes correct in Indian educational sector, so that this sector can function smoothly in India. So Charles Wood was the chairman of the commission, and in 1854, Charles Wood he visited India with his team. They we can say ascertained the social structure of India. They ascertained the education sector of India. They ascertained the interconnectivity of Indian education with the local population. They influenced the loopholes as well as drawbacks of the Indian education, and leaving from India back to Britain, he wrote some recommendations that were very important for reforming the Indian educational sector, and he later dispatched those recommendations to Governor General of India. At that time, it was Lord Dalhousie, and those recommendations were not given in India, but those recommendations were given where in Britain, and were later dispatched from Britain to India. That is the reason it is called Wooders Dispatch. And this Wooders Dispatch gives some important recommendations for reforming the Indian educational sector. The first important recommendation was to boost higher education in India. Higher education means to establish many colleges in India, to establish universities in India. We can say that later, by the recommendations of those by one of the important recommendation of this Buddhist dispatch was to create or to establish universities in India, and Bombay University, Calcutta University, or Madras University were the consequences of that recommendation. Later, the government, yeah, we can say the British government in India, they took it very serious and they established three important universities in India. And besides that, this Buddhist dispatch also gave one of the important recommendation that was to create district boards in India. So we can say boards for the purpose of conducting exams, for the purpose of giving trainings to the teachers, for formulating or for forming curriculum for the Indian students, as well as for conducting sessional exams for the students. So this is the standard for you for class 8. Otherwise, this is a very lengthy topic, but for you it is better to remember that the first important recommendation of this Buddhist dispatch was how to formulate the education sector of India, how to make exams necessary on session basis in India, how to create district boards in India for conducting exams, for formulating syllabus as well as other curricular and co-curricular activities, and besides that, how to develop teaching learning process in India. And second important was to boost the university education in India, yeah, we can say higher education in India, and for that purpose they gave the recommendation of construction the universities in India, and we see that the universities were later definitely established like Bombay University, Madras University, and Calcutta University. And you can also remember one more important recommendation of this Buddhist dispatch, that was to boost the technical education in India. Technical education means vocational education, the education that is mostly related with different occupations or professions like engineering, yeah, like we can see medical sciences, as well as other vocational training programs like carpentry, like weaving purposes, like electricians, Baki, whatever we have in professional courses. Those courses are called vocational education. So we have seen that the first engineering college was later established, Rokri International Engineering College, by the recommendation of this Buddhist dispatch. It is also one of the important topic for you. And later we have one more topic for you, that is Machiavelli's Minute. This is one of the important topic for you as well as to remember in this book, and it is an important question that is mainly asked in the exam, and this question is also good for you to understand that how the British tried to influence the psychology of Indians by implementing Western ideology, so that a good class of people can be created in India, who would work for the British in India, and who will always show loyalty towards British in India. So we have seen that in 1813, you have to remember one day, that is 1813. In 1813, the British government sanctioned 1 lakh rupees for the education system of India. So that was the Charter Act of first. You have to remember, in Charter Act of first 1813, 1 lakh rupees was sanctioned by the British government in India for for the purpose of developing education system of India. But later there was a controversy between the two groups. One was the Englishes; they want to spend this 1 lakh rupees over Western education in India, whereas the Orientalists, they believe that this 1 lakh rupees must be spent on vernacular or local languages or local literature in India. So the British government at that time completely came into obscurity, came into doubt, whom we have to trust and whom we have to follow, because it was a controversial at that time. If they accept the Englishes, it can create an annoyance among the Orientalists, and if they follow the concept of the Orientalists, the Englishes will be annoyed by the decision of the British government. So what the British government did, they lapsed this 1 lakh rupees. They don't give any decision that this 1 lakh rupees should be spent on Western education or it should be spent on local language in India. So in 1835, when Charles Machiavelli, he was also a law, we can say a law person. Yeah, we can say a person with law degree as well as good in this understanding of judicial issues. So this Lord Machiavelli, he was make the chairman of a meeting that's called Machiavelli's minute meeting, and there were some important points that came from the meeting, and those points are called minutes. So it is called Machiavelli's minute. So in Machiavelli minute was introduced in India in 1835. So we can say Machiavelli met different educations of India, met different we can say philosophers of India, met different other social reformers as well as political reformers of India, and they came to the conclusion with some conclusions, and those conclusions were called Machiavelli's minute. So the first conclusion of Machiavelli's minute was that that in English should be made medium of exchange in India. It means that the other language should also promote it in schools. There should be no, we cannot say that obstruction to use the other language in the schools, but the first priority should be given to English language as a medium of exchange. That means कि students should be given the knowledge by the help of, yeah, by the teaching of English, and the English subjects, yeah, we can say the English literature should be encouraged in India. It was the first important minute of this meeting, yeah, first important we can say conclusion of this meeting. And we have also seen that the most famous quote, yeah, the most famous slogan has been come from this Machiavelli's minute. That was, Machiavelli said that I want to see the Indians by blood, but I want to see them the British by color and taste. That means कि Machiavelli want to boost Western culture in India. He want to boost English education in India. He want to establish more private westernized institutions in India. He want to create more English medium schools in India, so that there should be complete transformation among the Indians regarding their social life. That means कि they should remain Indians in blood, but their taste, their we can say their color, their dressing, their medium of exchange, their way of talking should be based on English. It means that they should be psychologically colonized or psychologically influenced by the Western education. And this topic is known as in your history book as a Machiavelli's minute. So when we will be asked the question Machiavelli's minute was introduced in India in 1835. It was we can say it was one of the important dialogue or decision that has been taken place in India by the assistance as well as by the consent of many local scholars, philosophers, educationists, as well as social reformers, and all of the people came to the conclusion that English language should be established in India. It should be make medium of exchange. Other language should be the second alternative to use in Indian schools, and besides that, English medium schools should be established in India. And psychological colonialism, that means कि Indians there should be complete social transformation among the Indians by giving them the Western education. And the most important decision that has been taken during this Machiavelli's minute was to use that 1 lakh rupees which was lapsed in 1813 Charter Act on Western education in India. So the decision has come after many years over that 1 lakh rupees, and during the decision it was now made clear to the people of India that this 1 lakh rupees should not be used for promoting Orientalist or for promoting vernacular or local languages in India. It should be used or it should be utilized for developing as well as for boosting the uh, Western education in India, and this decision was accepted by all the groups. And this point also became one of the important concrete decision of the meeting. And later it was implemented, and the vernacular, instead of vernacular languages, the English languages were started boosting, as well as English literature was starting boosting by the help of this 1 lakh rupees. So it is Machiavelli's minute as well as the minutes of the meeting. So we have discussed half of the chapter, and in the next video we will clear all other facts that are very important in this chapter. तो तब तक आप ये चीज़ें क्लियर करो, एंड इन द नेक्स्ट वीडियो आपके बाकी जितनी भी वट एवर वी हैव द इंफॉर्मेशन दैट इज पेंडिंग इन द चैप्टर, विल गो टू क्लियर दैट. थैंक्स.